In the last Parayanam session, I had mentioned that towards the end of August, a few students of the arts group went and asked the warden for permission to get clay from the Hoskote lake for making a Ganesha idol for the Vinayaka Chaturthi day. This had been the practice in Brindavan for quite some time. But this time the warden said, "You all know that the idols of Ganesha that we make are not baked in fire. They don't have the Agni Samskari, it needs to be baked. And before we are able to do the immersion, the idols start developing cracks. Since the idols we worship have some parts broken, we are facing a lot of problems in the hostel, health problems like chickenpox, which keeps spreading from student to student." So he said, "I have decided that from this time we will purchase idols from the market which have this process of baking done and hence do not crack." The students tried their best to convince the warden, but he was firm that his line of thinking was right. The very next day, there was a call from Prashanti Nilayam. Swami had asked him to travel to Prashanti Nilayam with some documents. He allotted him a task which he had to complete. When he went to Patti and completed the task which was assigned to him, he went to Swami's presence. Swami asked him, "How are the students? Are they studying well?" And then asked, "What arrangements are the students making for celebrating Vinayaka Chaturthi?" The warden told Swami about what the students had asked of him and how he had told the students who had come to him that this time we would buy the Ganesha idol rather than make it. Swami said, "Let the students make the idol, because the tradition of our country is to make the idol of Ganesha in the house and immerse it after the puja. So tell them to go ahead and make the idol." When the warden on his return from Prashanilam called the boys and told them about Swami's instructions, you can imagine the jubilation. They immediately set about the task. In the next block of the hostel, the essencing block as it was called, in the lobby, they placed, the hostel was not yet occupied and there would not be any visitors, so they could work without disturbance. That was the idea. They placed 4 bricks and a platform on top of these, and chanting Ganesh Gayatri, they put a trowel of clay. To their shock, suddenly a rat came from somewhere and went below the platform. Since they were worried that it might nibble at their toes when they were working, they wanted to drive it off. But having started the process of making the idol, they did not want to lift the platform and drive the rat. It will go by itself, they reasoned. The process of making Ganesha took 6 days, and the idol got completed only early morning before Suprabhatam on Vinayaka Chaturthi day. As they lifted the idol, chanting the Gayatri, imagine their surprise to see the rat run out from below the platform. It had stayed all along the process of making the idol. They marveled at the fact that it had not eaten anything for 6 days and it had also not troubled them. The idol of Ganesha was installed and the puja was done very beautifully. The Ganesha Chaturthi was celebrated. The next day, Swami arrived from Prashanti Nilayam. This was the 7th of September. As Swami got down from the car, he looked pointedly at one of the students who had been involved in making the idol and asked, "How was the Ganesh Puja celebrated?" And looking at him, he said, "I sent a rat. Did it come?" All of us were stunned and thrilled at this uh, Leela of Swami. In the evening, Swami came and stood near the entrance of the bungalow and asked, "How are all of you?" And then Swami started walking towards the southern part of the compound. There was a standard Herald car which was parked there. Swami walked up to it. In those days, we never used to sit down on the ground. When Swami was there, we would be walking along with Swami. And so we also walked. Swami took us to that car. And Swami said, "Can anyone lift this? If you lift this car, I will give you a gold medal." Then Swami asked one boy if he could do it. The boy was a huge boy, so he nodded confidently. "Come on," then Swami said. He tried to lift it from the front and failed. He then said, "From the back it's possible. Can I do it, Swami?" Then he failed in that also. And then that boy said, "Swami, if Swami's grace is there, I can do it." Swami remarked casually, "Then it's nothing great. If you have my grace, you can even lift that building." Then Swami asked another two boys to do it together. They failed in their attempt. Swami said 10 boys can do it together. Okay. This led Swami to a reminiscent mood. He said, "In Kurukshetra, once my car, a Chevrolet car, was bodily lifted by the police and placed 100 feet away because there was no place for the car to move. The place was filled with so much crowds." Anyway, this standard Herald car also is not a kerosene tin. That's what he mentioned and smiled. Swami then called one of the boys and said, "How is your Ganapati? And how is the mouse which came and hid below the base? Was it big or small?" That boy replied, "Swami, so big." Swami laughed and said, "As if you measured it. You were scared of it." Okay, cut to 3rd October 1978. The Dasara festival in Prashanti Nilayam. It was the first day of the Dasara festival. The place was beautifully decorated with festoons. Swami was to hoist the Prashanti flag at 7:30 a.m. And in those days, this was a regular practice. Swami would hoist the flag on the first day of the celebration. Just like in the temples, they have the Pataka Utsavam. In the mandir, Swami also used to hoist the flag before the starting of any festival. So at 7:25 a.m., the warden suddenly came running and asked for Veda boys. We were all ushered into the interview room and then went upstairs along the winding stairs. The stairs to Swami's room from the interview room upstairs it's a very narrow set of winding stairs in which at a time only one person can walk, and there were, I think, about 18 of them. Okay, so 6 of us students had been lucky enough to hear the instruction for Veda boys, and so we ran up. As we ran up to Swami's room, he told us, "Akkada pondi," pointing to the veranda on the first floor. Swami came out and gave darshan on the ladies' side and then onto the gents' side. Then he came to the silver door and himself opened it. The bells rang and the devotees sang bhajans. After a few minutes, in which time we had quickly decided to chant Rudram, first Anuvakam, Swami signalled for bhajan to stop and asked us to come forward. We went and stood next to Swami and chanted Rudram. As we kept chanting, our tempo was increasing, and we were also realizing that our knowledge being limited to the first Anuvakam, our knowledge was getting exhausted. Some of us were trying to slow it down. As the first Anuvakam was nearing its end, our hearts were racing and prayers were becoming more intense, that Swami should tell us to stop. Just when we were chanting Vishveshwaraya Mahadevaya Tayambakaya Tripurantakaya Trikagni Kalaya Kalagni Ruddhaya Neelakantaya Mrityunjayaya Sarveshwaraya Sadashivaya Shriman Mahadevaya Namah. As we were slowing down towards the end, suddenly Swami said, "Bus," and we stopped on the brink. We got two nice namaskars, one before and after, and were grateful to Swami that he had stopped us in time. So it looked like when students write the exams, they write at the end of the sentence they will write etc., as if there's much more to be written but there's no time, kind of a thing. Professor Kasturi then spoke about the 5 mothers that each one has: the Deha Mata, the Desa Mata, the Bhu Mata, the Go Mata, and Veda Mata, and said, in Swami we have an embodiment of all these mothers, 5 in 1. In Swami's discourse, he declared that Puranas were Veda Samanam. He said, though some later people may have added and subtracted some bits here and there, to neglect these sources of wisdom on this account, he said, was foolish. He announced that he would speak about the Puranas in the evening Dasara discourses starting from tomorrow. After this discourse, Swami threw flowers from a basket over the assembled devotees. As Swami went in to his room, we followed. Swami looked at us and said, "Baga undindira, you chanted well. Manchi hridayalto cheptaru. You chant with a good heart." Swami said, "Chudu," to Kamavdani Garu. Swami said, "Chudu vinayam oka ganata." See the greatness of being humble, Swami said, because they were great scholars who had come for the Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yajnam. But it was to us who knew so little of Vedam that Swami had called us upstairs to stand next to him and chant the Vedam. Chanting Vedam with a pure heart pleases the Lord. This was the lesson that we learnt. In the evening, Swami gave a discourse, and after that there was a Katha Kalakshepam. Swami stayed for about 20 minutes. He then slowly slipped away, whispering to us, "Nenu ippudu potanu, meeru 5 నిమిషాల తర్వాత రండి." So with this, that beautiful Dasara got over. We'll stop with this for today and continue in the next Parayanam session.